Right.
I broke some of these people's brains that follow me on
Oh,
social
I
media
bet.
because they're like, oh man, you're never gonna get anywhere. You gotta blah 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 blah. Everything like all this shit, like from people I know and people I don't fucking know, everything
Hmm.
like that. And I'm like, no, I'm good. I'm not
Yeah.
gonna do it because I don't fucking want to. What's the point of trying to create a life of freedom where I work for myself and I don't work for other people in a standard 40-hour a week job or whatever? Because in a 40-hour a week job, you do what people tell you when they tell you, and
Hmm.
you go and do that. So what's the point? I'm trying to get the fuck up out of that so I can live a life that I want to, where if I want to go fishing today, I will. If I want to go and make music or make money, I will. What's the
Right.
point of doing that whenever I'm still living by dictates of other motherfuckers?
I
That's
agree.
that's completely counterproductive because then you're trading one form of servitude for another form of servitude. Where instead of living check to check, you're living gig to gig. That's the same shit. What's up, y'all? Welcome to the Music Making Sense podcast. It's your boy Harkos with the one, the only KP. How the hell you doing here today, KP?
I'm good, man. Having fun with this, getting this, my film score stuff ready. Like I was saying, man, and
Yeah, yeah.
it,
So for those of y'all who listen all the time and everything like that, we had skipped last week because it was Labor Day.
Mhm.
And KP was like, oh, I'm working on scores and stuff. And I'm like, okay, I don't know what that means. But I was busy that day and I told him, I was like, hey man, it's gonna be a little bit later. And he's like, oh, I'm working on scores. And I'm like, okay, well then we hopped in here and did our little hey, how's it going before we actually start recording. And I'm like, what the fuck what scores were you working on? And he was showing me, and like he was just saying, he's working on trying to what is that, Taxi that you're
Yeah,
using?
taxi. Yep, taxi.com, taxi music.
Yeah, and so what, like, so that's just where you create like instrumentals, or can you also put up like lyrical
Yeah.
music in there too? What's up with Taxi? I never checked it out.
All right. So taxi, for you guys who don't know what taxi is sync licensing music for film, commercials, video games, all that cool stuff that you like. Like if you want to get your stuff, like your music out there, like into, like I say, into film and music and commercials and things. Taxi is one of the places where you would want to go and you would to get your music out there. Starting fee is at $2.99. I paid like about $300 for it, and then you register, you put your metadata in there and stuff like that, and you become a member for a full year. And then once you become a member, you can start posting your music up, and they have different listings for different types of music that they want. And as I was telling you guys before, when it comes to sync licensing, they're not really looking for the hit song. They're looking for songs that fit a mood, a theme, and that sort of stuff, because they're putting it in pictures and in film and commercials and stuff. So
It's
that's
like the
where,
background almost.
yeah, so it'd be the background music and stuff, right? So once you get a song into sync licensing, the cool thing is that commercial or film or television show, whatever, once you get it, once it's played, once you get a deal and it's played like on television, you pretty much, you're getting a check. You're getting royalty checks like nobody's business. Because if you look at, who was it, the band, the guys that made the Friends theme song,
Oh, okay.
dude, that song has pretty much made them rich.
Yeah, that makes sense. And so it's just $3.99 or $2.99 for a year. There's no monthly or nothing like that. It's just for the whole year, and then you can post up as many things as you want. You can submit to as many different jobs as you want and everything like that.
Each submission
Huh?
is $5 after, though, like, because you do have to, because you're going through different companies, like different music libraries, music supervisors, sync companies, and things like that, right? So it
Okay.
is $5 per song. Also, Taxi has a way. If you guys go to taxi.com, they also are on YouTube as well. And they explain like all the stuff that they need from you, like, and they have talks with other artists and other people who are collaborators and stuff. So yeah, I'm excited, man. I mean, so if you guys check it out, we're gonna actually post it in the link. But yeah,
That's not
taxi.com. And I'll post my profile too. I'll give you my link for the profile too. My
Yeah,
profile.
absolutely. We'll put it
Yeah.
down in the links below, in the comments below
Mhm.
of this. But that's a pretty cool resource, man. Because I know I've heard of like Song Trader. Is it Song Trader
Yeah,
another
I
one
also
kind of
have
like
Song
that?
Trader. Yeah, I'm with Song
Yeah.
Trader too.
Yeah, and that's pretty interesting that there's like an annual fee to be able to get onto the platform, and then there's like a per submission thing. That's pretty cool. There's a lot of platforms that are starting to be like that. They've been like that for a while. Some of them,
Mhm.
you know, like Fiverr and Upwork. They've been, you know, in that kind of situation.
Yeah, doing
And
custom songwriting.
yeah, but like custom songwriting stuff like that, you know, that's interesting. And then even if you just create beats or instrumentals or whatever, you know, like you know, you for instance, I mean, you could sit there on a guitar or whatever and just do some picking and strumming and all that shit
Yep.
and create a melody and put the melody up there and then submit it or whatever. And so on your profile you can have it up there, and then people can search. Like if I'm creating a movie or something like that and I'm looking for a background noise, I can start searching and I can find you, and
Yeah.
then there's no charge or nothing like that for me to buy it off. There's like, it doesn't charge you $5. It's just only when you submit to a job.
Yeah. Yeah, when I
Okay,
submit to a job, yeah, it's I get charged $5. But
that makes
once they,
sense.
yeah, and then well, what's cool is that if you get a deal,
Mm.
man,
Yeah,
you
you
looking
never
at some
know.
coin, right? I mean,
Yeah, yeah,
some
you
coin.
never know how much it could be.
Yeah, dude. I mean, I could be looking at an upfront fee of 20 grand,
Right.
right?
Or you
Like
could just get annual residuals
and
of
the
20 or
annuals
40 grand a year, you
exactly.
know, just off of one thing that you created one time that they keep using. Like imagine how much the, you know, like you were saying, the people that created the Friends intro or whatever, that went on for like 7 or 9 seasons or something like
Yeah.
that. I'm sure they made a lot of money
And
because
it's
they,
syndication. And so
yeah,
it's still they're still making bread off of that bad boy.
yeah, because they're still running it on, you know, regular TV, and then some of the
Mhm.
streamers have it and stuff, and then they run ads off of it and everything. That's, yeah, that's pretty interesting, and that's a lot better way for musically inclined people to make money instead of just trying to run up streams or get actual track sales or album sales or something like that. Like the shit is, it's like investing.
Yeah.
You know, it's like you're taking instead of taking money and investing it into stock market or houses, like rental homes or like apartment buildings or something like that, which I'm thinking about once I start getting some money, which I don't have right now, but once I start getting some money and I
Getting
have
the
the
sync
ability to,
licensing, bro.
no, what I'm thinking about doing first, well, maybe, but one thing I'm thinking about is, instead of investing in the stock market is investing in apartment complexes.
Smart idea.
because like, especially if they're in decent sized towns or big cities, one of the two, you get in
Mhm.
apartment complexes, those things just keep on coming. And a lot of times when you get in, you got to get in for a decent chunk of change. You know, it's not like $20, you know, it's not
Right.
like buying a fraction of a stock. Like when you get in there, you got to have a few grand, 10 grand, something like that to throw in or whatever. But you throw into that, and then they tell you for your, you know, basically for your investment, you get, you know, 15% back a year or whatever it is. You know, that's way more than inflation. So you're beating inflation, and then you're also getting more than what a savings account would, or even a CD. For those that don't know, that's the
Yeah.
investment CD, not the
Investment
music
CD.
CD, not
Yeah.
these CDs behind me. Yeah,
Right.
but you know, stuff like that. That's that's pretty cool. But yeah, but doing sync licensing on Song Trader or on Taxi,
Taxi.
um, which that's a weird name for it. Song Trader sounds good. Like, why would I come up with a thing called taxi.com? You think it would be to find a taxi, like an Uber. Yeah, so that's a
Right.
weird name. That's bad branding in my opinion. But anyway, they you know, that's an investment there too, because if you don't have money to invest in stocks or assets of any kind, but you have the creative ability, like yourself, you know, you have the creative ability to create instrumentals and to create things like that,
Yeah.
and you put it out there, you're putting it out there, and then people can use it for a percentage. And hypothetically, 100 people could use that same thing. And so you're getting, even if you only get like, you know, $1,000 a year. If you're getting
Right.
$1,000 a year on average from 100 different people, that's $100,000 a year off of, you know what I'm saying? Or like, even if you only get $100 a year off of 100 people. That's $1,000.
$1,000. No, that
No, that's
is
not that.
that's
That's
12.
$10,000.
Yeah, that's 10,000. I was saying, yeah.
Sorry, my bad. That's
It's all
$10,000 a
good.
year.
It's all
Either
good.
way, that's just off of one piece of creative art.
Yeah.
Like you can't get that off of just a regular, oh, let me put out a club track, you know, or oh, let me put out a love ballad or something like that. Or I want to create the next, you know, the hottest mosh pit track or whatever the fuck. You know what I'm saying? Like none of that. Like that's dope. And that actually, if you think about stereotypes,
Mhm.
what, like, despite like looking at people who perform all the time, right?
Right.
Whenever you think about classical musicians, you think about them living in luxury houses, having nice things and stuff like that. And they're classic. They're like, oh, I played the cello professionally. It's
Yeah.
like, well, sorry, my phone just went off.
It's okay.
So they're playing the cello professionally. It's like, well, they're not. They may be playing in an orchestra, but then if they're also getting money, like for instance, like the orchestra that performed the classic Star Wars music, like the motherfuckers have been getting paid since the first Star Wars came out in the early 70s. You know what I'm saying? So like their kids and grandkids are getting residuals off of that shit. And they were just a fucking violinist in the band, in the orchestra that was doing the ba 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 da, ba. You know what I'm saying? Like the fucking dude playing the trumpet, making the fucking tempo. Got money off that shit. Still gets money off of that shit because they still keep releasing new fucking Star Wars movies with that intro. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, a lot of these TV shows and series, I'm a Star Wars nerd, but a lot of these TV shows and series and stuff like that, they have different scores and stuff like that now. But like the iconic one, the initial one with the credit scene and
that
stuff
still
for the
gets
movies,
played.
that still gets played. It's still the same track. The same people did it. Like another orchestra can't come through and recreate it and then try to get the money off of it because the original composer got that shit.
Yep.
You know, it's just
John
like
Williams is paid off that fucker, dude.
Yeah, exactly. And it's just like when it's just like Lucas, you know, Lucas created it, even though he sold Lucasfilms to Disney a while back, he still gets money. His family still gets money off of anything Star Wars because he is the overall creator of Star Wars. I'm sure, I think he had a couple other partners, but you know what I'm saying, right?
Well, yeah, he's the main director.
Right. And so that's one of the things where, you know, like I said, I stay in the hip hop space, but even if you look into the rock space and stuff like that with music, a lot of musicians are all like, oh, in order to make money off of my music, I need to sell records. I need to get my streams. I need to go on tour and do shows, sell merch. It's like, okay, you can do that, but you don't have to only do that. No. You know, you don't have to.
Lizzo made her big break off of sync licensing.
Yeah, there's plenty of people that make money off of sync licensing. You can also make money off of, you know, being a ghostwriter for Drake, you know, because that's all he uses. And then you can also but for real though, you can also you can also do the stuff like what you're doing, which is dope, that we're sitting here talking about shit that you're legitimately doing, you know. I mean, you know, I can't talk too much about apartment investing because I'm not doing it yet, but it's an idea.
But it's definitely an idea, definitely a bite-sized, realistic idea that does take some work, but at the same time can definitely be achieved.
Yeah, for $5 or $10 I can get my foot in the door. That's only $5 or $10. Yeah, that's a lot considering I'm living check to check right now.
Right.
But you know, once I start getting it to where I can put back a little bit of money every month, and then get up to that $5 or $10 to get the initial buy-in, then I can start using my residuals from that to reinvest, as well as any other money that I can start saving to invest. You know, so if I put $10 in and I get, you know, $100 back a year, I take that $100, I put it right back in. You know what I'm saying? Keep doing that until now I'm making $100,000 or $1 million moves and shit like that with investing. Because, like, for instance, I live outside of a college town. I don't live in the college town. I live in the country, but I live outside of a college town.
You live right near Purdue, right?
Right. I'm near Purdue, right? Thanks for telling everybody where I'm at.
I'm sorry, just man, you're a Big Ten school. Good. Shout out to fucking Michigan, baby. Ah!
Yeah, there's that too. But anyway, yeah, so I'm near college, and KP's over here doxing me and shit. But anyway.
Oh my God. I'm near the University of Washington, just to get everybody out. Jesus.
But anyway, so on this campus, right, which I'm sure they're doing it in all campuses,
Right.
but on this campus, they have university owned student housing, and then they also have private owned student housing as well, too. Well, there's this one lawyer. It's like one lawyer, and I think like his brother or something like that from Chicago, which is like an hour and a half away, who have a real estate company that they took their lawyer money and started putting it into, right? And that company has multiple different huge apartment buildings downtown on campus. One of them, there's two of them that are towers. They're 15-story towers with thousands of apartments in it. And then right next door, they bought up, there was 5 little 2 to 3 story apartment buildings, right? Some of them were houses that were converted, some of them were a little bit bigger than houses and stuff like that. There was 5 of them that took up like half of a block. And they ended up buying that, demolishing the whole motherfucker. And now they built this huge, it's a 6-story, just a big square or like a big rectangle block, right? And so on the bottom floor, they have some retail locations as well as parking underground, a couple of stories, right?
Nice.
On all of those things. And then they have the apartments all the way up, right? Well, students that, for one, it's mainly a walking campus, so having a car is kind of a pain in the ass. And so there are parking garages around campus where students can park and stuff like that. So like on there, that's only for like the super rich kids who can actually afford a parking spot underneath their building and stuff like that, right? So they're getting paid a premium off just having a hole in the ground. And then this is legitimately what underground parking is.
Yeah, you're right.
There's a hole in the ground with lines for you. Yeah. But then they have that. And then they also have all the apartment buildings. And since it is like downtown of campus, like it's within walking distance of most of your classes, everything like that. So it's location. And so they're making a killing. Like you can, like, 1 bedroom, like, so the apartments have like a common space of a living room and a kitchen. And so but they have like, there's some that have 1 bedroom and then you get your own private bathroom, and then some you guys share a bathroom, right? But I think a lot of these downtown have a private bathroom, but like shared common spaces, right? But it's like $1,500 a month or more. Like some of them, like the penthouse and stuff like that, are like over $3,000 a month. And like with the penthouse ones, you actually get this, like, all you, the whole apartment is just you. But like that's money, considering that like a 1-bedroom regular apartment in regular town, not on campus, but in regular town, is like almost $1,000 a month for like a 1 or 2 bedroom, like full apartment all to yourself. You're paying like $1,500 a month just for a room and maybe your own bathroom, but you still got to share everything else. You know what I'm saying? So that kind of stuff, I'm just like, they got the right idea. I want to start buying into that shit. And it's pretty cool because I actually have kind of like a half of a plug on it, because my chiropractor is married to a real estate dude, and he mainly deals with like houses and stuff. But I'm sure if I have some money, I can either hop in on his endeavor, or he can be like, hey, you want to do apartments? Here's my buddy right here, I play golf with, or whatever. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like, but it's all about making a connection. And I mean, it's just from me going to a chiropractor and stuff like that. But like with you, with your doing your stuff on Taxi, let's get back to the music shit, because Music Making Sense podcast, not Real Estate Making Sense podcast.
But a lot of artists get into real estate, crazy as hell. So
yeah. Well, see, and this is the reason it's on my mind, because not only have I been thinking about it for a little bit, but then I just, it was like 4 days ago, I just finished Jeezy's new book, Adversity for Sale. I listened to it because I listened to Audible. While I'm at work all day, I'm listening to podcasts or audiobooks. Yeah, one or two. And so I've already listened to 50 Cent's Hustle Harder, Hustle Smarter, and that's pretty dope. He gives a lot of insight. And then Jeezy sitting there talking about it as well too. And a big part of his book was about like his come up, right, and getting into it. But I also know that he has spent most of his money. A lot of people look at him on the stage and they're like, oh, you spend most of your money on like jewelry and cars. And he's like, yeah, I got a lot of cars. I think I saw an interview with him on Forbes the other day. He says he's got like $4 million worth of cars that he barely even drives. He's like, those are depreciable assets. I never should have fucking bought them. Like this is an interview I just heard 2 days ago from him, right? Or no, yesterday. And he's like, those are depreciable assets. I never should have bought them. However, a jet or a fucking boat, you know, and have like a dock slip and stuff like that, a boat dock somewhere, that's appreciable assets. He's like, but what he did is, yeah, obviously he made his come up from turning $20 into millions of dollars in the dope game, which is weird that he can write a book admitting to all the shit that he did. But he had it cleared by lawyers, so maybe statute of limitations is out on all that shit.
Well,
Because
yeah, I mean,
he was talking about because he was like talking about, yeah, on this day I had a shootout in the club where I shot at some people. It's like, what? How can you admit that shit? But anyway, he
audit.
yeah, something. But anyway, he yeah, but he started taking his money when he started getting off of music and investing in real estate. And he owns a lot of commercial real estate in Atlanta. And then, like, you know, he spread out from there and everything. But that's one of like the first things he started investing in after he reinvested in the music portion. The leftovers, he was investing in that. He bought a couple things to Flash and stuff like that. But he's, you know, he listening to his story, he's always been more of like a rainy day type of person. Like he has nice shit, but he's got a much bigger rainy day fund than he has a flashy fund, you know? And that's a good way to do it, you know, is to diversify. That's one of the things I tell artists whenever I work with them and doing coaching, and I'm starting to talk with them to try to get them into coaching and stuff too, is I always tell artists, I'm like, you know, I put this out in my content strategy and stuff like that, but it's okay. Yeah. Post promotional shit about your music, post about your music, because that's what you are first and foremost, especially on your artist social media accounts. But post some other shit about yourself as well too.
You know, gotta be a lifestyle. Definitely.
Yeah, you got to post lifestyle or interest shit, you know? Like me, man, I post up my music shit on my personal shit, but then I also post about my gardening, and then I go on a walk in the woods every morning with my dogs, and so like I post shit about that. Like this morning I just saw like some deer, dude, I swear to God, these fucking deer were only maybe 20 yards away from me. Dude, it was crazy as fuck. We snuck up on them and they were just sitting there staring at us. Yeah, and they were, because that's what deer do. They like, like watch to see what you're doing. And so I just stood there, and my dogs were standing still, right? Because they couldn't quite see them because there's a lot of brush in the way. So my dogs couldn't see them, but they could hear. And so when the deer were just standing still, I could see over the brush. And so I took out my phone real quick out of my backpack, and I started doing video stuff. And I'm going to post a video of my socials and shit. It's pretty cool. But anyway, I like doing stuff like that, you know? So I'm sitting here posting hip hop music and my music videos, clips from it and stuff like that, promotional for that. As well, at the same time, I'm posting shit about, you know, me in my garden, or me on these walks, or something like that, you know, or sometimes just some thoughts that I got. You know, and so I always try to tell artists that too. I'm like, stop being so one-dimensional. You need to be very, very multi-dimensional, you know, and that goes the same thing with trying to make your money as well too, you know, because yeah, you like to create music, but don't try to rely on streams or sales to do it when you can do things just like KP is doing right now, where he's on Taxi. Do you have Song Trader as well too?
Yes, I do.
Yeah, he's got Song Trader and Taxi, and he's trying to work on that. So he's creating instrumentals and stuff like that. I mean, fuck, one of the instrumentals that I just saw on his Taxi is the one that we use for the intro of the show, you know? And so like you can do that. I mean, you could even start marketing your shit to other podcasts and stuff and be like, you know, there's a podcast you listen to, right? You could just tell them, be like, hey, you know, send a message to them, be like, hey, I really, really like your podcast. I listen every time. I'm not even bullshitting either. I can show you my watch history, right? I just created an instrumental I want to give to you for free. For you guys to use as your intro, right? Give away a little bit. And then what you can do is when they like that, just like, okay, thank you, right? Well, if somebody they know, so like as podcasters, we know other podcasters, right? You know other people in the industry, and if somebody's like, man, I like your new intro, where'd you get that? I'm like, oh man, yeah, one of the fans, he makes music and stuff like that as well too. He made this instrumental for us and stuff like that. You know, if you want to work with him, just, you know, let him know or whatever. And you can even tell, like, for instance, you can just not just give that to somebody. You can tell them, it's like, hey, I want to give you this as a gift. And any other people that you refer to me, I'll give you 10% of any of the stuff that they buy off of me. You know what I'm saying? You know, just like I told you, KP. So like for instance, so for those of y'all who don't know, me and KP have our own music marketing agencies, right? Where we help artists and manage artists' social media and ads and stuff like that, but we help artists with coaching and everything like that as well too, right? Well, we have our own individual stuff. We only come together on this show right here.
Yeah.
Well, he's more of an extrovert than I am. So I told him, I said, hey, man, if you run across anybody that either you don't want to help or you have too many people going on, you can't help or whatever, or you think that I might be able to help them better than you can, send them over to me and I'll give you, what I tell you, 20%, I think I told him 20%. Yeah, 20% of everything that they ever buy. Yep. Right now, obviously, contracts are going to have to be organized and stuff like that with that kind of shit, you know. But you can do that with a podcaster or an indie film company. Yep. You know, I was in the army with a dude who does indie films and shit like that. You know, so like, you know, you can always find indie film companies, and you can be like, hey, I want to give you this instrumental. You can free to use, 100% no royalties. Right? We can sign up a contract too. However, if you know other people, give them over to me and I'll give you 10% of whatever they purchase, right? Off of me, out of my cut. And then as well too, if you want to purchase any in the future off of me, I will give you a 25% discount or something like that, or a 20% discount on anything you want to do, right? So you are giving people value up front first, right? Which is the same content strategy I keep telling these artists as well too. And I'm gonna tell every single one of y'all listening right now, tell
them, bro.
Give value for free.
Yeah.
Right. You don't have to give everything. The game's to be sold, not told. Not told. Right? Where I got that motherfucker right here. Games to be sold, not told. Right. You zoom in right there if y'all don't want it, if y'all want to make sure I'm not lying. But anyway, it's to be sold, not told. But in order to sell, just like the dope game, you got to give people a taste. They got to know what they want before they start buying it. Yeah. You know, I mean, fuck, people are going to be like, hey, like for instance, right? If they're curious about trying cocaine, they're not just going to go and buy an 8-ball. They're going to be around somebody doing cocaine and say, hey, can I try a little bump of that real quick? I'm curious to trying it, right? Obviously, it's not going to sound like that. I'm sounding very professional sounding it. But anyway, they're going to be like, let me get a bump. And they're going to try a bump. And then they start buying. If they like it, or they, you know, have a heart attack, one of the two. And so
like when you hit the wheel, yeah, he's like, okay, let me try to, exactly.
Right, exactly. You're
so
exactly.
Right.
I didn't buy a pack of cigarettes the first time I started smoking whenever I was a teenager. Yeah. I didn't buy fucking, you know, a 20 sack of weed the first time I fucking started smoking weed. Right?
Yeah.
No, somebody passed me that shit and I tried it. Now, obviously, I didn't buy it directly off of them. You know, I bought it through them or with them or what have you.
Right.
But it's the same way whenever you're online trying to market your music or any other kind of services that you have, you give people a little taste for free, you know? So if you're creating music and you follow a podcast or some kind of entertainment company that uses instrumentals or actual songs, you tell them, hey, I want to gift this to you. Whether you use it or not is your business. This is my gift to you. I'm not going to give it away to anybody else. I'm not going to lease it to anybody else. It's mine. I custom made this for you. It's yours. Your gift. With this, I also want to let you know of an opportunity where if you send anybody to me, like if you like this, whether you use it or not, if you send anybody to me, I will give you 10% of whatever they purchase off me. And then if you want to purchase anything off of me in the future, I'll give you 25% off, right? Yep. And now you don't have to put that all in the same sentence. You need to build a relationship with them. So you gift them the thing. You have a back and forth conversation about real shit. Talk to them about how you actually like their shit, you know? Like if you're listening to Music Making Sense podcast and you send us a message, say, hey, I got a dope intro. I made this just for you guys. I want you to have this. I'll be like, okay, cool. Thanks, man. How long you been listening? And you say, oh, I've been listening since you put out episode 3, but I went back and listened to episode 1 and 2. I really, really like that SEO is garbage one. You know, like at least fake it till you make it type of shit. No, that's the only time I say fake it till you make it. But, you know, at least show some interest, show some kind of research that you did for that person that you're poaching. And then tell them, be like, here, this is for you, whether you want to or not. anytime you refer anybody to me, I'll give you 10%. So still, that person just got something for free, and they have
Right.
the potential to make money off of just telling people about you. So they still have not spent any money with
yeah.
you. But then if they do want to spend money with you, then they get a deal.
Right.
That is a win-win marketing.
Yep.
That's a win-win marketing strategy.
Yeah.
Win-win. And so that's what I recommend to every single one of y'all, man. 100,000%.
Yeah.
And that, I mean, fuck, that's what I'm doing. That's what KP's doing. You know, I'm doing things in other forms and fashions. You know, I got a couple of artists that that I work with 100% for free to build my portfolio.
Yeah.
You know, and then I also am partnered with another company where I get a cut off of that marketing company or whatever for my services, basically like an employee, but I'm using that experience to gain more experience and knowledge that I then transfer over to my unpaid clients, which are people that I've known for years in the music game, and then that we work together. So we're like friends as supposed to associates or as opposed to clients, right?
Right.
But then I can still use that and them to build from there. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
So that's how you all need to build this music shit. You know, this is called Music Making Sense Podcast, and it's spelled CENTS, as in like money. You know what I'm saying? For those of y'all who are not in the United States, cents is a unit of money here in the United States. But anyway,
coins.
Yeah, it's coin. It's our coins, right? But anyway, this podcast, that's what it's about. Is about you learning how to make money off of your music.
Yeah.
You know, and you don't have to get signed to a label, and you don't have to sell out for none of that shit either. You know, and I mean, if any of y'all want to know any information that we haven't covered here or we're not going to cover here about the sync licensing stuff like that, hit up KP on the socials. I mean, he'll be more than happy to talk with you about it and give you
too happy.
Yeah, exactly. He'll be too happy to talk about it, right?
Yeah.
Well, speaking of being too happy, is there anything else you want to mention about that kind of stuff? Since I've just kind of been rambling for 5 minutes.
No, that's cool, man. Like I said, remember what we said.
No, I know,
but
I'm just saying. But you're matter expert. You're subject matter expert on this particular thing. You know what I'm saying? So, is there any other pointers that you would give anybody?
Just, I did bring them up before when we were talking about it, but now since you guys are able to, and I'll be able to post my profile. I'll get a profile to post my profile in the description,
in the comments, in the description,
and stuff. So, but I just want to say, like, guys, make sure when you're doing these, you want to make sure that you're writing for moods and themes, right? Don't focus on making the hit song. Now, with that being said, though, you might end up having a hit song because of the fact that it's being played, right? Especially if it gets synced and you get like a good 5-10 placements, right? You get those 5-10 placements, boom. That song has an increased chance of becoming a hit.
Absolutely.
Right. And not only that, but then you're getting paid for that very song, especially if it has that longevity. So if you guys are looking to invest, and I'm glad that you really pointed this out, Hart. It's a $300 investment. Mm-hmm. But it's an investment. And that means that I have a chance of making assets and building wealth for myself, building wealth for myself and my girls by taking this chance. And doing exactly what I love doing, which is creating music. And mind y'all, I was a metal frontman. Mostly I sang. But I realized I've listened to music from film and commercials and everything. And I've always caught on to the jingles, all that stuff, the sound effects, and I have a love for it. And I said, you know what? Why not use that love and invest into it and being able to produce it, being able to create it? Right?
Exactly. And
you guys are able to do that. You guys can get out there. I'm serious. If you are a creative musician, If you got those, if you are one of those guys who can pluck on the guitar string, I don't care if you can only play 2 chords. If you can pluck on the guitar, you can learn how to extend on that skill and start putting out some really cool stuff and getting your music into films and commercials and video games and even little ads, or even like what we did with one of my songs, that conga flow, putting it on for the podcast as an intro, right?
Absolutely.
Things you could, these are so many great things that we can do with our music. That's why I say that this is one of the greatest times to be alive as a musician, because now because the doors are now open to us, and it's not just open to the stars.
Right.
We can become stars now.
Absolutely. And just that investment of the $300, that's for you to be able to get onto the platform, to have the opportunity. It's an opportunity investment. That's what it is. It doesn't guarantee that you're going to get a fucking thing, but it is an opportunity investment for you to have that opportunity to actually try to do something. You know what I'm saying? That's what it's going to be. That's what it's for. It's just like you said, this is a great time to be an artist. And I see a lot of people that will be jaded, or that will get down or talk shit about certain platforms as being exploitive to artists. They're like, oh, you're making all this money off of us, we're barely getting anything. It's like, it's because you're not using it to its full potential.
That's what I was saying. That's why I say, when people only limit themselves, like we were talking about with streaming, when people only limit themselves to streaming, yeah, that's what you're gonna get. But what Richard Sherman say about Michael Crabtree when he put a mediocre receiver against an all-pro quarterback and shut down corner? That's the result you gonna get, right?
Yeah,
I mean,
exactly.
It's like, that's it, dude. It's like when you put yourself in a position of wanting to achieve and wanting to be successful, you're not going to worry about if you're not going to worry about second guessing those investments. Warren Buffett said it best: make an investment and don't second guess it.
Exactly. But that doesn't mean to just fly the seat of your pants.
Right.
I'm saying that means think, study, know as much as possible before you make that jump. And then when you make that jump, don't second guess it. Ride that motherfucker out. Ride that motherfucker out. Because like, if you second guess it, and I've done this, right? When I've tried to dabble in the stock market or whatever, and I bought things, and then there's like a 50% downward correction or something like that in the market, I'm like, fuck. And then it keeps going another 20%. I'm like, fuck. And then it goes another 20%. I'm like, all right, I'm pulling out. Well, then 4 months later, it goes up and it's like 50% higher than what I bought in at. And I'm like, well, fuck, I already pulled out, because, like I said, my personal experience, because I didn't just stick with it, because I was seeing my money decrease. And I'm like, well, fuck, I could spend this instead if I'm going to lose it. You know what I'm saying? And so that's a negative mindset that I have had on my own personal investment type of thing and stuff. But that's exactly what Warren Buffett and people like him do not do. They see where what they do that I didn't was know what the fuck you're doing first.
Yeah.
And my uncle is a wealth manager, and I tried to do stuff without talking to him. And so whenever I was talking to him about what I had done, he was like, well, you don't know what the hell you're fucking doing. That's why you were losing. He's like, that's why you were losing money. And then that's why when it corrected later, you were feeling regret that you pulled your money out. He's like, you can't, he's like, even if you want to do some day trade and then some long-term investment, you guys still got to know what the fuck you're doing.
Right.
And, and he's been doing it for my whole life, and I'm 36. So he knows what the fuck he's doing. And so do people like Warren. But, even if you're just going to make small investments, you need to know what the hell you're doing, at least to an extent, before you do it. Don't make any rash decisions. Like, if you're going to take $300 and invest in Taxi, right, to have that platform, and you're going to be willing to spend $5 per submission, you need to make sure that you are creating content that would fit that, and that you will be able to create content that will fit certain jobs.
Yeah.
you know? And so that's knowing what the fuck you're doing in this kind of context. You know, you need to be able to do that. You know,
Yeah.
if whenever I'm wanting to go into investing into apartment real estate, I need to know what the fuck I'm doing before I do it. I'm not just gonna be like, all right, let me take a home equity line of credit out on my house right here that I'm in right now, right? Let me
Right.
take $50,000 out and put it into an apartment building. I might win, or I might lose 50 grand plus the interest I'm now paying on that home equity mortgage every single month, and the monthly payments that I have to pay in excess of my current income for something I might win and I might lose my ass on, So I need to know what the fuck I'm doing, and I need to not take a home equity loan. I need to actually save those
Save the money.
dollars.
Yeah.
Yeah, save those dollars, even though a savings account only gets you like, less than 1% interest per year.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, fine. You're still building that to where you can have that $5,000 buy-in, because inflation is constantly rising.
Right.
However, a $5,000 or $10,000 buy-in on an investment, whatever the investment is,
Mm-hmm.
that is still going to be a $5,000 or $10,000 investment to get in down the road, And
Right.
so even if you only got a 0.5%, that money's not being spent and it's not being wasted. So you're still in a good spot. So if you spend the $300 for taxi, or however much the fee is for SongTrader to get on, or if you're wanting to do anything with Upwork or Fiverr or whatever, right, where you can get in for free, and then it costs you for extra submissions and stuff like that, where
Right.
you got to pay per submission and stuff. You have to actually have a wealth of things to do. You got to know what the fuck you're doing first,
Mhm.
and
Yeah,
then
because
you
it
got
took
to
me a
just
minute
go.
to get it. It did. It took me a minute to really like decide on like if I was gonna do it or not. Because I was like
Mhm.
just making sure that I was ready, making sure that I had like I was just making sure that I had the right mindset,
Mhm.
making sure that I'm like I have the gear that I need in order to be able to execute the instrumentals that I'm looking at doing.
Yep.
Reading about like learning about it, just to kind of get you guys in the mindset of where I was, how I got into it. It was like I said, my love for instrumentals and stuff like that. And just when I was studying, I started studying more about like Hans Zimmer and John Williams and those, and those guys, and even just looking on Spotify, checking out other composers. And that just drew the inspiration and also the motivation of not seeing very many like myself.
Right.
And I said,
Yeah,
yo,
because you're a very unique person, so you could
yeah,
come at things from a different, unique perspective as
mhm,
well. And weren't you
absolutely.
also like watching some YouTubers and stuff like that talk about that kind of shit too?
Mhm,
Yeah, that's why I thought you were saying is that you were also, he's watching some people on YouTube that are in that kind of thing as well too, And so
yeah.
when you're wanting to get into something and try it, know what you're doing as well and possible. Don't make a rash decision,
Mhm,
and just go with it,
yeah.
I
Yeah, I
mean,
was watching
yeah.
like Clint Music. Shout out to Clint
Mhm.
Music. Jay Will. Shout out to
Mhm.
those brothers because those are two brothers who are in sync licensing. And just like I said, seeing people who look like you getting into it. And
I'm sure that helps.
oh, that definitely helps. And
Right.
just and even me going on and looking at, and when I saw Michael Abel, shout out to Michael Abel, the one who did a lot of the stuff for the composing and the film scores for Jordan Peele for
Mhm.
Get Out and Us. He
Right.
did that, and he did a couple others. Shout out to that brother. And so I've been looking at that and just that inspiration and even just, and hell yeah, man, I can't even front. Hans Zimmer is another huge inspiration. Yes, he's a white man, but he's a huge inspiration to me because of the way he's been able to take on this task of becoming a film score composer, and just knowing his story about how he doesn't read music, you know what I'm saying? But he's able to he uses that imagination. And
Mhm.
so that was like, so just being able to get into reading about them and learning about more about like even Black composers, you know, like back in the past and stuff. And I'm just like, damn. It just like you said, and that uniqueness and just having that different mindset and not being so mainstream, like growing up in the D, you know, and it was like, yeah, this is where I can go with my career now.
Yeah,
You know?
you can be you.
Yeah.
You can resonate with shit you resonate with, and then you can learn how to monetize off of your uniqueness and things that
Exactly.
you enjoy. You
Yep.
know, and that's the key to success, no matter what you want to do, whether it's music or whether it's construction or whatever the fuck.
Yep.
You know, knowing, like, having a passion and using your uniqueness instead of just trying to be another cookie cutout.
Yeah.
You're gonna get so much further.
Well, that's like with you. I was like at first, because I want us to have this debate on when it comes to shows. But your approach to not doing shows, right? A lot of people will look at that and go like, wait a minute, you're a rap artist who's trying to have your music out there. Why in the hell would you do that? Even that, and they hit me like that too. But then immediately I thought in my head, like, okay, but I can see where you're going with this. Like, this is a very good, what's the word I'm looking for? This is a very good barrier breaker. Right? Even like breaking the mold. Like, you're going like, okay, wait a minute. It's a hell of a challenge. Yeah. Can you sell music without doing shows? Can you be successful at selling music? That's a hell of a challenge.
Yeah, right? It is a challenge. And then it builds the want, right? So for instance, I keep growing my presence online and streaming platforms, stuff like that, my notoriety, people keep listening to my music, right? Promoters are going to start looking around for people within a certain range of fan base to have at their show. Then they look and they find me and they say, hey, I'd like you to do my show. And I say, hey, you know, thank you. I don't do shows though. Well, they're either going to be like, okay, fine, have a good day. Or they're going to be like, what? You don't do shows? And you'll be like, no, I don't. They'll be like, well, what if I gave you X amount of dollars?
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Stuff like that. You know, it's kind of like, you know, it's kind of like the thing when you're single, you're looking to try to find somebody, and it's kind of hard. Like, sometimes you might have a little bit here and there, but you're not really trying to, you're not finding anybody. You're not finding anybody, right?
Right.
And but then whenever you stop looking, then people kind of find you. Or even better yet, whenever you are with somebody in a committed relationship, that's when people really start throwing themselves at you. Sometimes, not all the time, right? But that's whenever you have stuff out of left field, and you're like, where were you 4 months ago when I was single? You know what I'm saying? Like shit like that. And so it builds that desire, you know, because like hypothetically, right? I build my shit up to where I got hundreds of thousands of followers online and stuff. I have the biggest promoters being like, look, will you please do a fucking show for us? We want you to headline at this festival in this location. And I'll be like, no, I'm good. I don't feel like going to Cali. Thank you. Like say for instance, they want me to headline South by Southwest in Texas, right?
Right.
Like, we really, really want you to come to Austin and headline South by Southwest. Now that's a big deal to headline South by Southwest. Like, people like Wayne do that type of shit, right?
Yeah.
But if they like, we really want you to do this because the theme of this year is conscious hip hop and revolution, and you're like right up that stream, Harkos. You know, that's what you're all about. Because, you know, for those of y'all who don't know, that's what my music is about.
Right.
But you know, we want you to headline blah, blah, blah. I'm like, nah, I don't really feel like going to Texas in the summertime. I heard that's a fucking hot bitch. And they'll be like, look, man, we will pay you $100,000 for the weekend for you to come down and headline the one show. And we will pay for your hotel and travel and everything. You want to pay for a fucking thing. If you want food, just let us know. We'll buy it for you. We'll give you a credit card. Right now, I got these motherfuckers eating out of my hand,
just eating out of the palm of your hand, right?
And so if I do want to follow through with it, I go through with it. And if I don't, I say, no, thank you, I'm good. And then like those same promoters are like, fuck, man, this guy doesn't want to leave his state of Indiana. Okay, let's put on a show in Chicago or Indianapolis and then see if we can get that motherfucker to come. Because then it's right there in his state. You know what I'm saying? Like, okay, Harkos lives like almost in the middle between Chicago and Indy, only like an hour to 2 hours away from either one of them. Let's see if we get this motherfucker to come for $100,000 for just one weekend. And he has to drive just only 1 or 2 hours. You know what I'm saying? Stuff like that, you know? Yeah, some people might be like, oh, fuck that guy then. He thinks he's too good for live shows. But then some people be like, look, I really, really want you. Because then too, for their promotional aspect, they'll be like, they'll reach out to all their people that like to come to their shows, be like, we got a special treat for y'all this year.
Right.
The recluse, the motherfucker who never does shows. Harkos will be headlining this year's South by Southwest.
Oh my God.
We even moved South by Southwest to Indianapolis for this motherfucker, right? Or something crazy, you know what I'm saying? But like building the want, because I see so many times in the hip hop community that I'm in, right? I see so many times all these artists will post on social media, anybody know of anybody doing shows? Man, I really like doing shows. And sometimes artists will pay to go perform a show. They'll pay for their own travel there. They'll pay for their own everything. And then they'll also pay for a spot on that show. That's to use a term that I don't usually use that often at all. That's hustling backwards, right? That's absolutely fucking backwards. Why would you do that shit?
It's almost like you're panhandling.
Yeah.
And even you got a better chance of panhandling than, you know what I'm saying?
Exactly. I mean, that's like panhandling, or that's like fucking buying a prostitute to be your wife.
Yeah.
And you got to pay her all the fucking time. You know what I'm saying? And most celebrities know how that is because that's the kind of wives they got. But like that's what it's almost like, you know, you pay for what you want in order to try to advance your career. Like I am 100% am down with investing. Right. And the only shows that I do perform at are friends of my dad's. Right. So like I only do it as favors to other people. You know, I'm not out here begging to get on shows. I'm not hitting up all like whenever I hear about a show nearby, I'm not hitting them up, seeing if they need an opener, blah, 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 anything like that.
Right.
I only perform at request from people that know my dad or whatever. Or if anybody hits me up and say, hey man, I would really like you to perform at this show. I may or may not do it. It depends, you know? And so like that kind of mentality, yeah, it seems counter to a lot of people. It breaks a lot of people's brains. I swear to God, it does. Because some of these people, whenever I fucking just post something on my social media, like I had a walking thought one day because I was doing my walks in the morning and I was talking about how you know, fuck doing live shows.
Right.
I broke some of these people's brains that follow me on social media.
I bet.
Because they're like, oh man, you're never gonna get anywhere. You gotta blah 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 blah. Everything, like all this shit, like from people I know and people I don't fucking know, everything like that. And I'm like, no, I'm good. I'm not gonna do it because I don't fucking want to. What's the point of trying to create a life of freedom where I work for myself and I don't work for other people in a standard 40-hour-a-week job or whatever? Because in a 40-hour-a-week job, you do what people tell you when they tell you, and you go and do that. So what's the point? I'm trying to get the fuck up out of that so I can live a life that I want to, where if I want to go fishing today, I will. If I want to go and make music or make money, I will. Right. What's the point of doing that whenever I'm still living by dictates of other motherfuckers?
Yeah. I agree.
That's completely counterproductive because then you're trading one form of servitude for another form of servitude, where instead of living check to check, you're living gig to gig. That's the same shit. You know,
it's funny you say that because like now Here's the thing. Because now that you say that, I think about over 200 shows I've played. And just everything I went through. Now, mind you, the fans getting out there at times, man, when it was a fucking packed house and shit, and I mean, people were going nuts and all that. Dude, that shit was awesome.
But it's a rush.
Truly, it was a rush. But then when you think about the nuances, all the after the show. Think about everything else you go through, all the bullshit band practices, and I'm talking about, I mean, I'm talking from my own experience, even from my
Right.
own, you know, just my own drama and my own thing, you know, demons that I was battling and all that cool, or just demons that I was trying to comfort, you know what I'm saying? Like,
Right.
and just dealing with all those things, and you know, being in the band and being told what they don't like and what they want to hear and what they don't want to hear, and then you're trying to compromise with them, and then they're like, well, I don't want to wear this, but you wear this, and oh, I don't like when you wear this, but I'm not gonna wear this, you know, just all this shit, just, and dealing with money, and oh, well, we don't want to do that, we're not down with this in this band, and we don't like their singing, we don't like this, we don't like that, we don't like these lyrics, all of that shit. I'm like, why do I want to keep putting up with that after a while?
Well, there's all that. Plus, what about all the shows that you did in a smoky, dingy ass bar for 5 people?
Couple
See what I'm
of
saying?
them.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, before I had to get, before they actually blew, before we actually got people really coming. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. You see, and you went the path that I haven't went. You've done hundreds of shows. You've done a lot of these shows. You've went from not shit to some shit, right? Me, I haven't. The only shows I've ever performed at, like I said, were for requests of people I know. You know, small little fucking venues and stuff like that. Personally, I wouldn't fucking show my face in those kind of venues, but I did it as a courtesy to help out these other people, right?
Right.
I mean, fuck. I spent way more in gas to get there than what they gave me, right? And I
That
didn't even
too.
and,
No
and I
pay.
didn't
Oh my
yeah.
God, bro.
Well, and see the thing is with the ones that I've been doing, I don't even want their money. I told them, I'm like, hey, no, it's all good. And they insisted I take it. I'm like, okay, cool, I'll take it. And half the
You
time I
guys
spend it in the venue. You
Right.
know what I'm saying? Because I didn't do it for that. You know, I'm doing it. Hey, yeah, you're friends with my dad. Yeah, I'll fucking help you out. No problem. I'll open it for you. And like I always open. I'm like the first opener, which on a show with multiple acts, when you're the opener, you're performing for the least amount of people because the people that are coming for the headliners don't come until later. You know, so like they didn't even get a chance to see me, nothing like that. By the time they get there, I'm sitting in the crowd. They didn't even know I'm a fucking performer, you know? And so yeah, so I've taken that route where I've done very minimal shows, but you have actually taken the route that everybody always says you have to take. You know what I'm saying? So you can, just like you just did, you spoke on what it really is, you know?
And metal, unfortunately, the thing is with metal is that it's one of those genres that's the nature of it. You don't,
Does it have to be though? I don't think it has to be, because for instance, rock and metal, right? This is one area I really want to get into to helping artists, like bands, grow with their social media and presence and marketing, because I think,
and I do too. I agree. That's something I think we really, definitely.
Because rock and metal and stuff like that, you guys can create so much content. Not only are there more than one of y'all.
Dude, you know how many arguments I have with rock and metal? You know how many, dude, I'm currently having this with a nigga in my own, for one of the projects that I'm trying to get together now. Like, seriously, dude.
Yeah, shit's crazy, man. Because like in hip hop, it's one motherfucker. So for me as an artist, I have to create the song, make sure it's all good, get it all perfected, blah, blah, blah. Okay, now I got the master track back. Now I got to create the music video plus any promotional content.
That's if you don't do it. That's if you don't buy it like from BeatStars or whatever, right? Like,
exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
Like all that stuff. But even still, I got to create the music video or get it created. And then the actual promo videos as well, too. All the content for it, right? That's all coming from my mind and or anybody I commission's mind, right? To help me out with that, right?
Team members, yeah.
But if you have, what's a typical band? 4 members?
4, yep.
4 to 5, right?
Yeah,
you know, Hanson and Nirvana did it with 3, but like
no, that's what I said. 3 to 5 members. 3 to 5.
Right, yeah.
Members.
But most people, let's just say 4 to keep it even, right?
Yeah.
You got 4 people, right? Now, obviously, some members of the band, like the bassist is kind of like, you know, shy or whatever, you know, like in Limp Bizkit, right? The bassist, I can't remember that dude's name, but like he never spoke, never did nothing, but he was the craziest looking motherfucker in Limp Bizkit, right?
Sam Rivers.
Possible, yeah. I can't.
Yeah,
Like I
that's
said, I
him.
can't
No,
remember his name.
it's Sam Rivers.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, he was always wearing the blacked out eye contacts, and he was
No, that
always,
was Wes Borland, the guitar
West.
player.
Yeah, West. Thank you. Yeah, yeah. So he was always doing crazy shit, and Fred Durst just had a backwards hat on, fucking screaming about break shit, right?
Yep.
Stuff like that. People don't even know who the drummer is. Shit like that.
John Otto.
See,
I know
you
the hell
do.
out of it.
You do. But what I'm saying is like with nowadays, you got all those 4 people, right? That's at least 4 potential ways of creating some kind of content.
And then they had DJ Lethal, man.
Exactly.
Surprised you ain't know that's House of Pain, baby. Come on, now.
I used to listen to Limp Bizkit back in middle school, but I haven't really listened to them since then, so I forgot all that shit. I used to be a nut though. I used to remember all that shit. I even had an email that was like LB Punk blah 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 or whatever, right, for Limp Bizkit shit back in middle school. But that's also when they first came out though. I was on that shit.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, like especially that track they did with Method Man, that was a dope crossover for me because I started listening to Wu-Tang. Yeah, I started listening to Wu-Tang before I listened to Limp Bizkit. So I was like geeked as fuck. But anyway, like, like you have a rock band and stuff like that. You got multiple people to choose from, and you can go at it from all different angles.
You really can.
You can do a couple of videos of your drummer doing drum solo, your guitarist doing a guitar solo, your singer doing some acapella work. You know what I'm saying? Of that newest track that you got that just came out, right? Let's say you release a track that's called Today Was the Last Day, right? And it's a dope fucking track. And in that track, you got a drum solo and a guitar solo, right? And then the hook is on fire with Crazy Ballad, right? Okay, so right there, you have the whole track in total. Here's some free game for y'all fucking rockers. You got the whole track in total, right? Make a music video out of it. You got the whole track in total. You got the music video plus a couple clips out of it for creative content. Yeah. Then create a acoustic version. You got the video plus some clips of it, acoustic version.
I didn't even think. Damn, nigga, I didn't even think about acoustics, man. No,
put that out. Yeah, right. Put that out there. Now you got 2 versions of the same fucking song, right? In one acoustic version, one not, right? Or unplugged or whatever the fuck you want to call it, right?
Listen to this man right now, okay? Seriously,
so you got the full version of the tracks that you could put out on video and audio. Don't forget about the streaming for it, right? And you can drop those a month apart from each other to fucking and have the acoustic revive the fucking ramp, right?
Yeah.
But then you have the clips from those videos, and then for other content, what you do is you get the drummer on his drums, or like a guitarist on a balcony, or the fucking singer like somewhere that resonates with the mood of the track, right? And they just do solo artist jam of that fucking track, and they can perform the whole fucking track, and you can take clips out of that, or they can just do some clips, right? And so just imagine your lead singer of your band, you KP for instance, right? You on a fucking balcony, somebody having a camera right next to you. You can even have a couple cameras, one on each side, and get some like rotation or whatever, have a fucking drone in front of you or whatever, and you're just acoustically singing the whole track.
Yeah. And
you're sitting there just using only your vocals as the instrument. And so you know this especially, but whenever a singer is singing only by themselves, the range and how they play with their vocals is totally different than what they do in front of all the band with all the instruments behind them, right? Yeah. Same thing with a guitarist, right? The guitarist is such more of a sensual, a real like intimate series, right? Mm-hmm. And so then you have the full version of those and 2 to 3 clips out of all of those for one fucking track, doing 2 different versions in a formal setting, right? Because you gotta go to the studio to create the acoustic version as well as the non-acoustic version, right? You got like 2-3 months worth of promotion on just that one right there, and I'm talking 2-3 months worth of 2 unique posts per week on that shit, on top of interest pieces from the different members of the band. Like the drummer, he's into gardening, and the guitarist, he loves working on cars, and the fucking lead singer, he likes doing hair and makeup. I don't know fuck, you know what I'm saying?
No, you're so right, though, dude.
So you have all this content, right? And so this is why you should hire me. So you have all these fucking ideas, right? And all these different elements in a rock band that you don't have with a solo artist, that you could do so many different fucking ways. and you can promote one motherfucking track, 2 different versions of one track for fucking 4 or 5 months
4 or
if you do
5
it right.
months. Yep.
Because if you use my content strategy, right, of posting one music promo,
We need to
and
write that
then-
one down. I'm gonna definitely. We need to write that. We gotta write that down. We need to put that in a whiteboard, my guy.
so
Like one of
so
those
I
whiteboards
have
that we did post.
yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
we
so I
definitely do.
yeah, I have been working on a course I'm trying to finish up that is going to be available. We'll talk about that on later episodes when I have
Sweet.
that or whatever. But anyway, but if you just use the content strategy of putting out one music promo post a week and then 2 to 3 other non-music interest related posts a week on the socials, I mean, fuck, you could stretch that one song for 4 to 5 months.
Yeah.
And you can reach so many different demographics on that shit because of all the personal interest pieces portions of it as well, too. And so you just keep doing that month after month after month. If you want to go hard and go crazy on it and use one song for only 2 months or something like that and just fucking smash the airwaves and put some dollars behind fucking promoting some of the different pieces and stuff like that, go for it and stuff.
The
But
problem is that they don't want to be.
amazing.
See, you're so right. And the thing is that they don't look at it like that's a way to be like characters, because people. That's
Absolutely.
what people are missing when it comes to today. You guys, just to piggyback off what Hark was saying, y'all. You guys, if you think about the way he just broke it down, guitarist playing a solo, rhythm guitarist playing the rhythm, as videos, singer or lead vocalist doing the vocals, drummer doing the drums, bass player, right? You think about it like this. When we look at those very bands, Limp Bizkit, right? The reason why you can remember them, I remember them, is because why? They all had a character. You look at Korn, right? You had Jonathan, Fieldy, Head, Welch, Dave, and Fieldy. Yeah, did I say Fieldy? Yeah.
yeah, you already said that. There's only 5 people.
It's 5, okay? You had those 5, and they were characters. You look at Slipknot, characters.
Yeah. Look at Slipknot. They literally were characters.
Yeah.
They all went by a number.
They went by,
And then they were all literally characters.
Yep.
Like they went by the Clown and then his name Sid,
Mhm.
right? Or shit like that, right? Like they were literally characters. They put on fucking full masks and rocked out in it so that they were not themselves. They were caricatures,
Yep.
right? They took the same. I think the people that started it, I may be off, not seeing things back far enough, but the people that really started it was Kiss.
Oh yeah. Oh, no
Because-
doubt. No
Because
doubt.
they were ones, they put on the makeup, they had the whole show. You got Gene Simmons, the demon with his tongue
Yep.
out and everything like that. And then they all had their own character. You had the cat and all that shit, right?
Yep.
And Star Child and everything, right?
Yep.
And so they started that shit. People may have done it beforehand, but I don't remember that shit. I
No,
remember
but
the
it was- no,
Beatles.
that
I
was-
remember
no.
the Beatles being known as
Yeah,
characters.
they had their own little characters, right? But that's
A
the
little
point.
bit,
It's
but nothing
they
like
didn't-
that.
But nothing like the way Kiss did it.
Or Slipknot.
Yeah,
Right.
or Slipknot. But the point is that bands today, that's the problem. I even look at bands today like this. There was one band, if you see, go on my Instagram, Undulation. I pointed out because the sister on there, I don't know, I forgot her name, but she has this like glove on and she's screaming, and she has character,
Mhm.
right? And the problem is a lot of these bands, and I know some killer vocalists, but it's like their band members at times lack the character.
And
I
some
know-
band members are going to be hyper introverts.
Yeah,
They're going to be
we get that.
like the bassist may literally be in the shadows playing the bass on stage. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? Like they may not want to be there. The drummer may just want to play drums and get his dick sucked by a groupie afterwards. He doesn't want to be up front like Dave Grohl ended up doing. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But like
But they still have a character. That's the thing,
Mm-hmm.
is that you still recognize them. The problem today is
Mm-hmm.
that a lot of bands, their members aren't recognized.
no.
They're not.
And you don't have to be recognized so much that you break out as a solo artist or nothing like that of your
Right.
band either. You could literally, like, you could be that hyper introverted fucking shut-in who loves to play the guitar, right? And
But
who's
make
a
sure
guitarist.
people,
But all you have to
people
do
can-
to promote yourself is have one person with a fucking camera or a cell phone in a room. It's just you and one other person. Or you could even set your own fucking camera up and just sit there and do it. You could be by yourself.
Yep.
Right? The most introvert shit you could think of. You could do that shit. All you need is to record the video and audio of it. That's
I
it.
said it. Showcase yourself. Even Rick Barker said it. If you are an introvert, showcase that be that introvert. If you are avant-garde, be avant-garde.
Because there's people of all calibers that are gonna
Just
like your
want
music
to
and
like
be
you.
like that too.
Yup.
You know what I'm
There
saying?
are people who read, they connect with you.
Absolutely.
And it's
They connect with you, and that's the thing too, is people got to connect with you as your music and as artists as well
Yeah.
too. You know, that's why people resonate so much with certain music groups or artists
Mhm.
as opposed to other ones, you know, and that's why so many are fly by night, and that's why so many don't break out, you know,
Yeah.
and that's why so many do. You
It's
have
like
to
you
be
were bringing
unique.
up, yeah, just like you were saying with when you were talking about in the with the Usher, when we were talking about Usher the
Yeah.
last week with the Usher, you were bringing out, like you were saying, you said something here in our text. You were saying like looking at both the examples of good and bad public perception. You know what I'm saying? And that's
Mhm.
pretty much like what we're saying when it comes to artists, like rock artists. Like people want to know, like rock artists are like, well, why we're not really getting any real play? Like, and and now you're mad because MGK is coming in, becoming that rock star, or now you're
Mhm.
looking at Post Malone. And
Yep.
we've also looked at other artists. We looked at with the punk black movement
Yep.
going on. We're starting to see that, hey, we're starting to see some people who could be rock stars.
Yep, absolutely.
And
If
that's where
they can market it right,
yeah.
you know, and they can do all of that shit. Like you said at the beginning when we were just talking about sync licensing, which is
Mhm.
to circle back, is a great way to branch out and do your own thing. Even if you're the member of a band, you
Yeah.
can still do your own solo shit under your own solo LLC of just guitar riffs or just piano shit or whatever. Like
Yeah.
like if you're the lead guitarist of a fucking thrasher band, right?
Mhm.
And I said that right?
Yeah, a
Okay,
thrash
cool.
band. Yeah, a
Yeah,
thrash band.
I feel like I mixed thrash and slasher together and said thrasher. But anyway,
Well, remember
but
the band, there's the magazine Thrasher was dealt with hardcore skateboarding, so it's
yeah, that
all
was
good.
skateboarding. Anyway, y'all know what the fuck I'm saying. God damn it, I got
Still
a
the
wall.
culture. Still
Yeah,
the
I
same
got a wall of
culture.
hip hop behind me, so ignore my rock ignorance. But anyway, so you know,
But
you
you're not
could
being
be
ignorant about it. You're kind of smart. You are smart
yeah,
about it.
no, I'm smart, but like I missed some shit, right?
Yeah, it's all good.
Ignorance is not knowing, stupidity is just being dumb. But
Right.
you could be the lead guitarist of a heavy metal fucking crazy band,
Mhm.
but then you also know how to play piano, and so then you can create piano scores for
Zach Wild.
for fucking for sad musicals or for
Mhm.
sad movies or whatever, right? You
Yep.
could you could like hypothetically you could be the lead guitarist of a crazy metal like Slipknot or whatever, right?
Yeah.
Level band, and then you can go home and you can create the keyboard musical tempo for the next Notebook movie.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like you could do anything you want to do with what the resources you have available here today.
Don't limit your talents, guys.
Don't limit
your
it at
talent.
all, and don't limit where you're at either.
Yep.
Don't limit where you're at. Don't limit what you look like. Don't limit none of that shit. Because look at me and KP right now. I'm in Indiana. KP's in Washington State.
Yep.
3-hour time zone difference, right? We're over here doing this shit. He's a black dude in the metal. I'm a white dude in the hip hop primarily, but we're diverse people in total as well too, right?
Exactly.
And we're sitting here creating this piece of content right here with technology. I have collaborated multiple times with hip hop artists in the UK to create songs, right? And music videos for those songs. And I've never fucking been to the UK. They've never been to America.
Nope.
We did it all with technology and coordination. And y'all
Sure
can
did.
do that shit too for anything you want to do. Anything at all. And you don't have to be limited by the music industry's fucking substandard level of subsistence to get paid off of streams, or selling your track for 99 cents a download, or selling merchandise for, a t-shirt for $30 so you can get 5 off of it. You know what I'm saying? Shit like that. Like, the price of fucking merch is so outrageous. Like, people pay $35 for a fucking shirt just so that artist can make $5 off of it at the end. You know what I'm saying? Like, the only way you can even start making even $10 off a $30 shirt is if you literally press that shit up in house. You buy all the raw ingredients in bulk off of Alibaba and shit and do it. Right. But if you use a place like spring.com or whatever, in order to make $5 off a shirt, you got to sell it for like 30. It's crazy. And so you don't have to be trapped inside that fucking, servitude mind state, because that's literally what you're doing. You're feeding that machine still.
Yeah.
You're not signed to a major label or nothing like that, but you're still feeding that fucking machine. You're still putting your music up on Spotify. Like I told y'all a few episodes ago, I guarantee that shit's going to come out soon. Is Spotify and Apple Music, shit like that, they have partnerships, 50-50 rev share or better for the record company of cuts that the record companies, these major labels, get off of gross revenue, off of these streaming platforms. So like there's probably 3 major labels that get gross revenue off of Spotify before Spotify even gets their cut, and then kick down the pennies left to the artists. But those major labels artists, those major label artists, they get their streams off the top at a totally different rate.
Yeah,
they don't get 0.003 cents per stream like we do down here. You know what I'm saying? Don't fucking think. So anytime you're putting that shit out there, like I said before, use the platforms for what they are. They're distribution networks, DSP, distribution or digital service provider, distribution service provider, whatever you want to call it, right?
Exactly.
It's not a form of revenue, just like Songtradr and Taxi, right? Use those as the platforms they are to create the lifestyle that you want. If you want to be able to create some music and put it out there and have it be used in movies and stuff like that, just go and custom create it.
Yeah.
If you want to have it on your favorite podcast, go and custom create it for your favorite podcast and just send it to them for free. Because bare minimum, you're going to at least build a name recognition thing off of them.
Exactly.
Now, obviously, some big podcasts like Joe Rogan and shit like that, they don't use music and stuff like that. So they probably are not going to take it, because they're going to know, look, I get 1,000 of these a day. Okay, guy, like, I'm not going to use yours over all these other 1,000 people. I don't use anybody's just to keep it fair. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. But if you listen to an up and coming podcast like Music Making Sense podcast, or any other podcast who has, a few thousand streams a month, or 10,000 streams a month or something like that, they're small to mid-level podcasts, and you want to throw them to your shit or whatever and be like, hey, absolutely for free. You don't even have to shout me out if you don't want to. I just want to gift this to you because I enjoy what you're doing, right?
Yeah.
Like, you're not asking for a fucking thing off of them.
Nope.
You will still be able, every time you listen to that podcast, you're going to hear your music at the beginning. You'll be like, yeah, I'm part of this. I'm part of this podcast. And then that'll give you the spark to continue growing and going from there, and then maybe you make another new one for that same people and be like, hey, I got a new one for you. Here you go. If you want it, go ahead and take it. Well, then you just gave them 2 and they're like, yo, man, we're going to take this. We appreciate it. Let us give me your PayPal or something. Let me give you a couple $100 for this or whatever. Right. And then you can say either yes or no at that time, or they might be like, yo, look, here, I'm going to send you over to these other people, man. You need to create some stuff for them too. They're looking for somebody. I know somebody, one of my friends wants to start a podcast. He needs some music. I told him to contact you. He's going to hit you up. This is his name, whatever, but just take the information that we give you here all the time and use it to the best benefit of yourself. And if you want to know more about Taxi and Songtradr, hit us up on the socials, either at Music Making Sense socials, or hit KP up on his personal shit.
Yep.
And you can talk to him, because I don't know shit about it. So I'm going to refer you to him. But he'll tell you all that shit.
Yep. And we'll have I'll have my link. We'll make sure we put the links in the description of where you guys can go and check out my profiles. Absolutely. For Songtradr. I actually, I'm going to go ahead and do it for Songtradr and Taxi. Yeah.
Yeah.
I gotta do some serious loading up on my Songtradr, just to kind of give you guys another little tidbit. I chose Taxi because
Song Trader can be a little tough because they do look for songs. They actually look for songs,
Like
right?
full songs instead of
Yeah,
just
full
snippets or
songs.
scores.
Yes, instead of snippets or like instrumentals. So they do look for songs. They do look for the instrumentals as well, but they want songs too.
Right.
Taxi is where I can do more of the sound design, sound effects, do like percussion instrumentals, really cool obscure stuff. Like they open the door more for that type of thing. So that's why I went to Taxi as well. But both of them are cool. And I definitely would suggest that if you are wanting to get your music out into a different place and try to get into or like I said, getting into like video games and filming and things like that, because you could get a big break out of there. So yeah, we'll definitely have the links for you guys. And yeah, man,
and you can go check out his profile, see what he's doing.
Profile.
Send him messages in there or whatever, or in the socials or whatever, and ask him. He can help you out, no problem. Get y'all pointed in the right direction, because that's what this podcast is all about, is giving y'all the information to help y'all actually do something. We have our own personal interests as well too, where we have our own marketing companies where we actually help artists grow and help them create custom content strategies, kind of like what I laid out when I went on my little rant there a second ago.
That was, I love that one too, man. By the way, seriously, that was awesome. Like I'm gonna listen to this podcast again, or just to make sure, like because you drop some gems in that, baby, man.
But that's the beauty of being a creative person, is that if you unleash your motherfucking mind, you can create some shit, or you can at least come up with an idea to create some shit. Like I tell people all the time, if I can't draw with my hands, I can't draw for shit.
Yeah, me.
It's all stick figures. Yeah. It's all stick figures. And what the fuck is that? You know what I'm saying? But in my mind, I can come up with ideas. Like I've always been known as the idea guy. One of my previous jobs, I was always coming up with ideas to help grow the job, but it was a corporate job. And she's like, my manager of the store, she was like, "Hey, idea man, I appreciate your ideas, but I keep submitting these to corporate and they're just throwing them in the trash can. Not because they suck, because I think they're great and we could really do some shit, but it's corporate and they suck as corporation." Right. So you need to use these ideas either on your own shit or in a small business. And I was like, okay, cool. So then I started doing some of the shit for my own thing. But like, that's the beauty of being a creative person. And if you're a creative person too, then you can fucking do it, at least come up with the ideas, and so that's what we do. Me and KP, we have our own companies where we help artists come up with ideas, and sometimes it's even just bouncing ideas off somebody else. An artist comes, we have our meeting or whatever, an artist says, "Hey, I got a couple ideas for this," and I'm like, "Oh, that sounds good. Hey, how about this?" And I bounce my ideas back off of him, or vice versa. Or they're like, "Hey, I'm stuck on trying to figure out something to do for this," and I'm like, "Well, let me listen to the track real quick. Oh, well, maybe you can do this or this." You know what I'm saying? Stuff like that is just basic, simple shit that somebody who is not tied to you at all. Yeah, there's a financial tie if you're my client or whatever and I'm working with you. Right. There's a financial tie and there's a financial incentive for me to give you more value and for, stuff like that. But I'm not going to kiss your ass, like your homeboy will be like, "Oh, that shit's dope." When in reality, he's like talking to his other buddy, "Yo, man, that trash is garbage." Stuff like that, right? You're not going to get that. You're not going to get that kind of stuff with me and KP. I mean, fuck, a few episodes, and KP were talking about how KP lost the fucking client because he told the client straight up what he thought and the client didn't like it. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And he wasn't rude. You can tell by the way he acts on this fucking show. He's a nice motherfucker. And he told this dude super nice, no cuss words, no anger, no nothing. "Hey man, this is my personal point of view. This is where I think you can grow. This is where I think you need to pivot to." That's what he said. He didn't say, "Quit music, you're garbage." He said, "I think you need to pivot to this because this is more your style." And the artist was like, "Oh, you don't know what the fuck you're talking about, blah, blah." Right?
No, he didn't. No, he didn't do it. No, he didn't do that. No, he was respectful about
I misunderstood.
it. He was definitely, he was very respectful about it. It was just, I just know when it's just he was polite about it, but when a person is like, they're upset about something that's said because it
hit him hard.
You could definitely see it hit him hard.
Yeah.
And I wasn't
and again, it wasn't to hurt his feelings, but at the same time, it was like, no, I can see you really succeeding going this direction.
Yeah, you're
But it
trying to
was
help me.
that-
You're trying to
yeah,
do what you're supposed to do.
right.
Yeah.
But it was like, the thing is, of our business don't align with, it's like, well, my business can't align with what you do because I'm coaching. I'm not in the same, you know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, we're in music,
Mhm.
but I'm coaching you in a direction that I feel when you're giving me your brand, you're giving me what you're trying to sell. I'm going to listen to it, look at it and all those things. And I'm going to say, okay, well, this is what I think.
Mhm.
Right. And I'm going to give you support. But
Yeah.
if I see that you need to go a direction, and what I'm saying is this, guys, the reason also I started getting into sync licensing was because I realized too that as a metal vocalist, I can be limited.
Yeah.
Right. Especially when it comes to gaining revenue and things like that. It can be limiting.
And it's limited because you can just get a cold or a sore throat, or like, for instance, back to Young Jeezy, because I just read his book or listened to his book. He fucking blew out his fucking voice box.
Cords, yeah,
his vocal cords.
Especially if you don't go.
Yeah, and he had to have surgery and shit like that, and to get it back. I mean, but as a vocalist, you could do that. But if you're doing your sync licensing where you're doing instrumentals and shit like that, unless you are brain dead, then you can still make money off of it. You can still create.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you can save your voice.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and you're not limiting yourself to a single source of revenue.
No.
Or a single source, nothing like that. It's not like saying, well, my first job was working at McDonald's, and damn it, I'm just gonna stay here on this line. I'm the master of the line. I can do the fries, I can do the cash register, everything like that. And you it's like starting your first job at McDonald's and then staying in that store and never getting out of that store.
Or are you not even trying to move up or not trying to move up the, because one of the things is
you're
like
just an employee.
Corporate, because you think about McDonald's, that corporate ladder right there, you can easily move up just by being that employee, right?
Yeah, you can move up to management and store management, and then regional and district and all that shit. But like, if you're, to use the same analogy, but if you just get hired on there and then you just stay just being the worker, you never move up to any kind of leadership position at all. You just stay, I'm the worker, right? That's essentially just like saying, I just want to create music and make money only off of music and just do stuff only in music. That's literally the same fucking comparison in metaphors, right? It's the same shit. Don't do that to yourself, because something could, like with you were a metal frontman for 20 something years. If you fucking popped your voice box, you're fucking toast, dude, because you weren't the lead guitarist and singer.
Nope.
But also still you were the lead singer, so you were literally like the sound of the music.
Yeah,
you were the voice of the music, so if you went out, the whole fucking ship went sinking, right? Because I mean, look for instance at Alice in Chains, right? When Lane Staley fucked himself up and went out of business, right? We'll just say that to be nice. When he fucked himself up and went out of business, he had who's the other guitarist that did his backup vocals?
Jerry Cantrell.
Yeah, Jerry Cantrell. Jerry, he was doing the backup vocals for Alice in Chains and stuff like that, and he was a lot of the sound, but Lane was most of the sound, right? Well, Alice in Chains, they had to get a new vocalist to take his spot because they couldn't just work off of what they already had.
Yeah, William Duvall had to fit that, and he could damn it because he's got that voice.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and so they had to find someone identical, but even still, after Lane died, the popularity of Alice in Chains went down because Lane made that band, because he was the soul. He was the painful soul of that fucking group, because he was coming up with a lot of stuff. Unfortunately,
he died. But I have to say this because I really followed them after, because I love I do love Alice in Chains. And believe it or not, like if you listen to their work with William, and just to give you a little bit of familiarity with William, he's also an African American. He wrote, I don't know if you remember the song I Know What You're Doing, by Deion Ference. Yeah, he wrote that song. Yeah, after she left Arrested Development. So he's been in the game for a while, and he was actually he worked with Jerry and Lane. He's been friends with those guys for a minute. So
Right.
when Lane died, so after Lane died, Jerry was working with William. And then he asked him to be in Alice in Chains with him. And I can tell you, like, because William also plays guitar.
Right. But what I was kind of saying,
No, I know what you're saying.
I understand, yeah.
But
I understand that you knew, you followed them, but like their like national and worldwide popularity went down quite a bit after that.
Well, actually, no, and this is what I wanted to say. When they came out, their albums, they ended up getting an American Music Award. They received a couple honors for that album for the next two albums that they came out with. So, though from and I hate saying it like this because I saw this coming. And not saying that this isn't about you, not saying this, but on a general scale, a lot of white fans felt, some kind of way, like they
some kind
really
of way
did,
because they
right?
were Lane was replaced with a black dude,
right? And but even it was funny because a couple of fans of color for Alice in Chains also because they miss Lane,
right?
But the thing was, a couple people broke it down like, look, y'all, I'm sorry, but Lane's dead.
Right.
Like he died.
And even if you want to take it over to Soundgarden, where it's all white and never been replaced by anything at all, Chris Cornell, when he went out, never got replaced. Linkin Park, once Chester fucking died, is nothing. You know what I'm saying? Like, even if they put a new singer in there that looked just like him or whatever, right? Like, hypothetically, because I get what you're saying with that, and that does play a lot into it. When you in the rock space, especially, sometimes it is like heavier slanted with racial tendencies,
right?
But even still, like when that kind of goes out, it kind of ends.
No, you're right. No, you are right. But at the same time, they were able. The thing was, okay, but we can't. But that's not true because you think about AC/DC. Okay.
Oh yeah.
When Bon Scott died, Brian Johnson stepped right in and was able to carry.
But wasn't that towards the beginning of their career?
Yeah, but at the same time, Bon was still had that impact. He had that sudden impact, right?
Yeah. No, I get what you're saying. They were still able to rise above.
Right.
I think where they differed as opposed to some of these other ones that we just mentioned is that the lead person died towards the beginning of their ascension, and the other ones died in the middle of their ascension.
Well, pretty much. I would say
Lane,
damn
obviously,
near
Chris and West. That was, or Chris and
Chester.
Those were towards like the end
and
of the ascensions
Scott.
of the bands. But yeah, true.
And Scott, yeah,
true. But anyway. The moral of the story, we're getting down a rabbit hole, but the moral of the story we were trying to say is don't be heavily reliant on only one thing. Okay, that's where I was going with that metaphor that took a turn because I started talking rock shit to a rock dude, and I was misinformed on a couple of things. So
that's all good.
He had to correct me. But I welcome it.
But you know what's crazy is that you know a lot about rock. So I mean, that's why I know. Right. That's why we're able to have that conversation.
Yeah,
as well.
But I have pieces missing and pieces that are put in the wrong place too. So there's that. But anyway,
that happens.
Anyway, that's what we're trying to say is diversify yourself and be diverse. Show that diversity in all different ways, either to your fans or in the background with the different things that you do in order to try to help sustain yourself in life. Exactly. So that's the overall message we want to give to you here today. And we're gonna wrap this up so y'all can check out the next episode that we're gonna have here soon. But yeah, if you want to work with us, again, as always, hit us up on the socials. You can work with either one of us. If you want to work with both of us, let us know and we'll work something out.
Hell yeah, man. Because we're actually we're getting a course together too, so that'll be fun.
Absolutely.
I think. Yeah,
all that stuff. And then but yeah, just keep tuning in here every single week. Follow us on the socials and list us on the streaming platforms. Make sure you share the fuck out of the show. And then if you want to be fans of our individual music, feel free as well too. Just Music Making Sense podcast everywhere you want to go look, or it's musicmakingsense.pod.com for the website that has all the links to all the socials, as well as there is a page on that website for our personal profiles as well too, where you can find all of our personal streaming and social platforms as well. So we're gonna get the fuck up out of here for today's episode. Hope you all enjoyed it. Make sure you put comments down below, let us know what you think, argue with us, agree with us, completely your choice. We're not gonna ban anybody unless you're doing some like, you know, crazy child porn shit or something. Then you're getting banned.
Right.
But if you're actually like talking with us and having disagreements or whatever, we won't ban you if you disagree, because that's conversation right there. So
Exactly.
but anyway, we'll get the fuck up out of here. We'll see y'all later. Y'all have a good one. As always, it's your boy Harkos with the one, the only KP with the Music Making Sense podcast. See y'all later.
Holla, y'all.